Welcome back. We are doing Shaman in the Fractured in Alterac card review stream. This is Adwicta.
This is Merps. We're talking about Shaman. So, for how boring Rogue was, Shaman is the opposite. Very, very exciting.
Super
They have
exciting.
they have a theme as well.
Yeah.
Freeze
And
Shaman.
it'll work in
Freeze.
arena. It's a working arena theme.
Okay. So, it's one of those themes in which I'm very interested in because it doesn't require like very specific card synergies. The specific card synergies, those are the toughest ones. But you want to look at these cards and see whether or not they work independently, whether they're independently strong
And
and
they
just have a
do.
bonus. Yeah, and they do.
Every single card we're going to show you in Shaman is better than a Yeti. Every
E-
single card.
Every single card. That's how good this expansion is for them.
And we're going to
And
kick.
remember, the stuff that's coming back also
Mm,
synergize. But we'll talk about that at the end. So
okay.
let's kick it off with an S tier card.
S tier card. Not exclusively in the province of paladins and hunters. S tier card is also a shaman thing. Wildpaw Cavern, 4 mana. This is a S tier objective. At the end of your turn, summon a 3/4 elemental that freezes. Last 3 turns. That's
Okay,
1
first
three
of all,
four, 2 3/4, 3 3/4 is it?
so let's just think of it this way. Yeah, you summon an elemental. The elemental that's summoned this way doesn't. I don't think it matters that much. Um, First of all, it freezes. So uh, okay, people still like water elemental, right? Like people
Mm-hmm.
still think water elemental is pretty decent. If you think water elemental is pretty decent slash good, you have to look at this and say this is busted. Wait, if you like water elemental, isn't this just water elemental that has like you can think of it as like I don't know, persistent death rattle. You can think of it as having a million HP. Whatever way you want to categorize it, this is just super at omega water elemental,
Yeah, it's like a
right?
water elemental with like 15
Yeah.
health.
Okay, not 50,
But
but
like,
yeah,
but
yeah,
like,
sure.
it like freezes itself after every turn.
Yes, this is super water elemental, and people like water elemental. So when I was reading about this card, I was surprised. Some people were just like not super on board, and I'm just like, that would make sense if you think water elemental is like a D tier card. But I don't think you think water elemental is a D tier card. So this just necessarily like if you think water elemental is even like decent slash
Mm-hmm.
pretty good, um, then this has to be a really freaking good
Yeah,
card,
like you
and it
don't
just
have to
is.
think water elemental is like an A tier card. If you think water
Oh
elemental
no,
is
no,
like
no,
a
no,
B
no.
tier card, like you're set, or maybe even a C plus tier card, then this card is insane. And
Yeah,
this card is insane. I'm gonna repeat that again. This card is insane. Do not be fooled by people who think, oh, it's just good, or it's okay. This card is insane. It's an S tier card. There are barely any S tier cards in this game. Barely any. Don't let the set fool you. I know there's a bunch of this set, but in the game in general, there are barely S tier cards. I'm going to go backwards. In Mines, there was exactly one S tier card, Righteous Defense. In United and Stormwind, I believe we had 0 S tier cards. In Barons, the only S tier card was Morsha Watchpost, which got banned. That's what S tier cards get. They get banned. That's our recent history of all the cards that they've released. So yeah, like S tier cards are great. They are boundary pushing, and this is one of them. Take it. We'll see how good it is.
yeah.
Just to put it another, you remember the druid one where you summon like these 2/2 stealth wolves? That was like 3 mana and you get a 2/2 stealth wolf. This is 4 mana, so you expect to get like +1/+1 stats. And instead of stealth, it has freeze. They're pretty similar, right? For like stealth and freeze. I don't know. Maybe stealth is better than freeze. But I don't know how good stealth is on a 2/2 wolf. Like, stealth is good on like a 5/2 or something, but not on like 2/2 wolf. Uh,
Right.
so this just gets 1 extra stat on each of them. That's 3 extra stats on the card. Like on
Yep.
a already like pretty good card. They just like
Yeah.
throw in 3 more stats. And this is during curve turns too. This isn't like, oh, you can't play it on 4, you play it later. No, this is super curve. You play it on 4. You just like lose the curve for like 1 turn before you're caught up, and then by the 3rd turn you're over curved. And the 3rd turn, by the way, is not like some super late turn, it's turn 6. So you play this on turn 4, and when the Dormant wears off, right? Remember Dormant, like Vile Fiend? How it's like totally okay to play a Vile Fiend, get nothing, and then get the Vile Fiend to pop up 2 turns later? Well, this is like kind of like that, except it trickles in, and you are super overcurved by turn 6.
Yes. Like super. And this card, I think once again, I'm going to stress immediately getting what you quote should get just isn't as important as it used to be. I think the dormant one really hammers it home because the dormant one, I think people immediately recognize like, oh yeah, you're right. I just actually do nothing some turns. This you're not even doing nothing. You're doing something.
Yeah, you're putting a 3/4 freeze out there.
Yeah, you get something out of it. So this is much further away from nothing. But a lot of the best cards that we've seen in the previous metas have been actually do nothing.
Mhm.
Like don't actually do nothing. And if this is getting you something immediately, plus it freezes, damn, that's real good. That's like really, really, really good.
All right. Moving on, Wildpaw Cavern. So this is a rare card. It's not common, but it does set the standard for like, okay, free Shaman's going to be a thing because everyone's going to pick this card. Next up is Snowfall Guardian. In case that card wasn't good enough, here's an A tier card that follows it, and this one is common. Snowfall Guardian is a 5-mana 3/3 with Battle Cry. Freeze all other minions, that includes your minions. Gain +1/+1 for each frozen minion. So this is a gigantic minion.
It's huge. It's huge, and it freezes. I don't know what more there is to say about this. It just does a lot of what you want it to do. Like, it freezes the entire board, it establishes itself, and it, you don't allow them to favorably trade.
Mm-hmm.
You're able to use this, you're able to also push another turn further to your Earthquake, to your Tidal Wave, like to these AoEs that are coming back. And or for you to have another turn in which to have more mana, so now you can, let's say, play the spell power with like Tidal Wave because you had Primordial Studies. Like, this is the kind of stuff that like you want to start thinking about. It's like, are there synergies with these frees in the older sets? And yeah, there are. There definitely are. Whether you're doing like more traditional AoE like Lightning Storm or these new AoEs like Tidal Wave, freezing definitely works with that. And Shamans have the tools to just push the game on longer and longer. So these freezes like help them do that, and they have ways to capitalize on it.
Yeah, so keep in mind, it's not like the best 5-drop. Like, if your opponent even has like 2 minions, it's still just a 5/5. If you don't have anything on your side of the board, but it's like situationally a 5-drop depending on the state of the board. And more important than that is at some point it'll just be 5 mana for something really, really big and you get a free frost. Like, that's the value of this. Okay, so we got 2 cards now. The 2 best cards coming in the set, both freezing, both amazing. We're gonna take a little detour now into the legendary. Not because it doesn't freeze, but because it's legendary. See it. It is Bearon Glacier. It is another A tier card. It is a 7-mana 6/6 elemental. Battle Cry for each frost spell you've cast this game. Summon a 3/4 elemental that freezes. You've cast a frost spell or 2 this game. It's because you're Shaman, and Shaman is Frost Shaman now. So this will probably trigger. And then it's a 7-mana 6/6 with a 3 or possibly 2/3.
Yep.
All right. But by the way, Wildpaw Cavern is not a frost spell, in case you're wondering, because it's a location. All right. Next, we're on to the B plus cards. B plus, still very, very good. First one is Sleetbreaker. Sleetbreaker is a 2-mana 3/2 elemental, so on curve. Battle Cry. Add a Wind Chill to your hand. Let's look at Wind Chill.
Let's look at Wind Chill. Let's do it.
Wind Chill is a card, by the way. This is like a real card that you can draft that is part of the set. It is a B tier card. So again, a good card. Not as good as Sleetbreaker, but still good. It is 1 mana, freeze a minion, draw a card.
Not bad. Good cycle.
Yeah, freezing a minion, that's like what a 0-mana card does. You just get it. Like, and you still draw a card. Like, it's a great cycle. Even without synergies, it's a great cycle. You're gonna get some synergies here. So yeah. So we're gonna bring us back to Sleetbreaker. Sleetbreaker is a 2-mana 3/2 that just gives you a good card. Not just any good card either. A good spell that has initiative that can be used immediately that draws a card. So it is it's effectively a double card draw. It is possible tempo if you need to freeze something on top of that. And even if you play it on turn 3, you can use it on the same turn. If you play it later on, you could potentially use the card that it draws to on the same turn. Like, this is a really good card.
Yep.
And again, we're now out to 4 cards that freeze. That is like all the good Shaman cards in this set. They all freeze. So finally, we have Snowball Fight. In the B category. This is another B plus tier card. Snowball Fight is epic, and it is 3 mana. Deal 1 damage to a minion and freeze it. If it survives, repeat this on another minion. This is double-sided.
I think this is one that we kind of just like looked at and we're like, I think it belongs here.
Yeah, I did no math on this. This is impossible to do math on.
I didn't do math on it either, but I looked at it and, I did the comparisons to sort of like, how good is like Frost Nova? How good is all of this stuff? And then, with the AoE, I'm like, does the AoE really matter? I'm like, yeah, I think it does matter, right? It's like, you can freeze and set up for Lightning Storm. You can freeze and set up for like Tidal Wave. You can just do all of this stuff. So yeah, I like it. Also flavor-wise, so good. I'm just like, oh yeah, of course this would be like it's like, and if you die, you can't throw a snowball. I mean, it's kind of like dark, but yeah, if you die, you can't throw a snowball.
Throw snowballs until you kill a kid, then the game stops.
Yeah, a little bit dark, but yes, pretty nice.
Yep. Also, it is a hard removal. If there's only 1 minion on the board. So
yeah.
There's that as a backstop. Okay. So yeah, it's an epic card. You won't see it that much, but it is definitely an interesting addition to Shaman, and a good card too at B+. Now we're gonna go on to the C+ cards. By the way, so far
did you say it works on 1 minion? That's not how it works.
Oh, sorry, you need 2 minions.
Yeah, you need 2 minions.
Okay, so it's not a hard removal. My bad.
No. What was that part of your? That wasn't part of my calculation.
I just told you I did no math on this card.
There
was no calculation for it to be a part of.
Yeah.
So next we have 3 cards left. They are C+, C+, and C. Let's look at the C+ card first. First one is Cheaty Snowbold. Cheaty Snowbold is a 3-mana 3/4. After an enemy is frozen, deal 3 damage to it. Normally, this will be like, whatever, what are we going to freeze? But with this set in, you're actually going to freeze like everything.
You're going to freeze a lot, man.
So, even on the same turn, this is probably going to trigger, right, if you're not playing on 3. But if you play it on 3 and it doesn't get removed, starting on turn 4, you can start freezing stuff, maybe.
Yeah. So, this is getting basically an entire tier's worth of value, effectively, because otherwise it would be like a D+.
D+.
And now this is and now this is like a C+. So it's actually getting, and look, you won't have like all freezes in your deck, so it's not that good, and it's not like this is impossible to kill. So go crazy here, right? But yes, it gains an extraordinary amount of value from the fact that like, holy shit, shamans suddenly are a freezing class.
Mhm.
It's crazy, but they are. They're a freeze class.
They're more of a freeze class than mage.
Oh, significantly more. Like significantly
Yeah,
more.
like they're
Mages just do dumb generation things. Shamans freeze now.
yup. So the other C plus card is Glaciate. Take this.
Yeah, so Glaciate is a card, it's a 6 mana spell. You summon, well, sorry, you discover and then you summon an 8 cost minion and you freeze it. It's a frost spell as well. You could draw you could draw it in some extra ways. Um, you want to look at what is in the pool. There's not a lot of 8 cost minions. There are 13 total. You can tweet at me if I'm wrong. I think I'm right. I think I counted up all of them. So here's the thing. If it's a regular 8 cost minion, and if it doesn't have taunt and it doesn't do anything,
Is
it's
terrible.
not great. It's not great.
This is
Because
very
remember,
bad. This is like D tier.
when you freeze it, it misses its next available attack, which means you can't attack during the turn that you summon it. It doesn't unfreeze when it comes. Like, you can't attack on the next turn
either,
because
yeah.
that is the first available attack. So, it misses that. So you're not able to attack with it until 2 turns after you use it. Which means some of the 8 drops that are good that you might be thinking of, including Violet Worm and Proto Drake, they're not as good as you think they are because they don't taunt. They don't, do that thing. Moarg is out. If Moarg was in, Moarg would be amazing, right? Moarg would be so good with this because it taunts. And then there are some trash ones. There are some really bad ones. So if you are thinking why isn't it lower, the only thing holding it up from being like a D tier is Abominable Lieutenant. And because that card is like is game breakingly good, if you get it, you just got a 6 mana lieutenant, and yeah, it can't attack for a little bit, but it doesn't matter. It commands like removal. It's just gonna keep eating stuff on their board. Even if you can't attack, it's broken. So 1 out of 13, the chances of you getting a lieutenant, I calculated, is approximately 25%. If there's 13 choices, you get it approximately 25% of the time. It's not super high, but the the thing that tilts it from like a bad card, like an actual bad card, to an above average card, once again, I account for the fact that you have that blowout potential. 25% chance to just kind of win the game because you got a stupid 6 mana lieutenant. That counts for a lot. That counts for a ton in a game full of swings where a big swing isn't enough. You need like home run hitters. This is like a home run hit. A 6 mana lieutenant. That's it. So, um, even in like the bad scenarios, I'm just like, you know what? Shaman still has the tools to kind of hold people off. So even if you just get the Proto Drake or just get the Violet Worm, you can still get some use out of it eventually. It does suck that you can't use it for like 2 turns.
Are there any taunts that are 8 mana?
No.
Yeah. So
Or
there are
like not any good, or like I didn't. No, sorry. You have Alakir, but like
Oh,
that's
okay.
not
Yeah, okay.
good,
That's yeah.
right? Sorry. So yes, you have one. It's Alakir, and you essentially just get the
3/5
Divine
taunt.
Shield 3/6 taunt, which is like it's fine. It's okay. But it's not good, right? Like
Yeah.
if you get a 3/6 taunt Divine Shield, it's fine. So yeah, and I believe that is like the only taunt that's like noteworthy, or even like the
Okay.
only taunt period. So yeah, if Moarg was in, this would move up even higher because that one is super duper good. But no.
Okay.
Glaciate, it's just held up by the Abominable Lieutenant score, and it raises it significantly, like an entire tier, just because of that 25% chance to win the game off of it.
Yep. I mean, we identified that as an S tier card. This will bring it out to for 2 mana cheaper. Like it's such a big win when you get the abomination. That it really raises the score of this card. So it's a card to watch out for. And yeah, it's pretty good. Last card in Shaman is Frostbite. This is a C tier card. It's a little better than a Yeti. 2 mana, deal 3 damage, frost spell, honorable kill. Your opponent's next spell costs 2 mana more. Nice and all, but your opponent knows that their next spell costs 2 mana more. They can just like not play spells for a while and play their minions first. It's not like as effective as you may think it is, and that's if you get the honorable kill, which deal 3 damage. It's not like guaranteed by a long shot that you get it without actually waiting for it, and you may or may not want to wait for it. Like most of the value of this card is just in the 2 mana deal 3 damage.
Okay, all right. I think that's it. I think that is it for Shaman. It's an interesting class. They got a lot of really good cards. I can easily see them being oppressively good. I can actually see that just because of the new cards that they got. And if you guys remember Skullman's Academy Shaman, they had some like, you know, they had moments there where it was like, oh wow, like they have what was it, Raz? They have along with like the primordial studies, all of these good generators, right? Because you can find, for example, primordial studies into Steward of Scrolls, into these big spells. So they had ways to just generate all of this removal. Unstable evolution is back. So now that we're looking at those kind of chains, right? Like primordial studies into Steward of Scrolls, they find a unstable evolution. Well, let's start the clown music, right? And that's on top of all of this stuff that they have. It is very possible, but Blizzard controls things. It's very possible for shamans to dominate the meta because they do have the tools to do it.
Yup. And the thing with Shaman is that if they don't dominate the meta, Blizzard's going to mess up adjusting them. Because they're so synergized with this new set that they're going to get adjusted up. Like, what Blizzard will think, what the Blizzard algorithm will think is the right amount to make them from a bad class to an okay class. And all of the synergies are going to kick in with each other. There's a giant network synergy for this free stuff. And they're all of a sudden going to become the dominant class. Like, that's what I think is going to happen to Shaman. I don't know that they'll start off at the top, but at some point they will be at the top. If they don't start out at the top, they'll be at the top after the first adjust. So definitely a class to watch out for. And
I can see that.
That's the S tier card, right? Like you have Paladins with the S tier card, you have Hunter with the S tier card, well, Shaman's your other one. And I've talked to you guys about what S tier cards mean historically. They just barely exist. They barely exist. And so we're getting 4 of them now in 3 classes. So these 3 classes are all going to be good at some point. Hunter has a giant asterisk because the rest of their package sucks so much. But Paladin's a guarantee.
Your S tier card is a common.
Yes.
And that's really scary. That's like incredibly scary.
Yeah, at least Wildpaw Cavern is a rare, and the Paladin 2 are a rare and a epic. The Hunter one is a common. So I don't know what's happening with the Hunter, but yeah. This is Shaman. It's gonna be fun. Like this should be one of the classes you have like circled where you're like, I want to play Shaman in this new expansion. Like you want to freeze and you want to do all these synergies and you want to like play. Like this is. I am almost never excited about Shaman. It's just not one of my favorite classes. Most of their stuff is like complicated and convoluted for either no reason or just super OP for no reason. But here, yeah, it's powerful, but it's also networking in a cohesive way that hasn't been exactly done before in Hearthstone. Even though it's using a very normal and old school mechanic, which is freeze, right? So I'm excited.
I'm sure if I just told some of you guys Unstable Evolution is back, that would have been enough for you guys to just fire up Arena and try to get Shaman. But this was a very good expansion for them. Top to bottom, it's like
Yeah.
they were the winners in terms of overall quality. Like they just like got so much good stuff. Like you can look at Paladin and be like, wait, but they got two S cards. Like, yeah, one of them is an epic. And
Hmm.
then, but here it's not just about the top end. It's not just about like, oh, like what are the cards? It's like how well do they work together? How well do they work with the stuff that's coming back? You gotta like what you see for the Shaman. I'm just like, wow, this is probably the best package when
Hmm.
you look at the stuff that's coming back as well and how well it fits. Um, it's gonna be pretty annoying to play against because it is gonna be that powerful, and Shamans are gonna be able to freeze and remove you a ton. You might actually just play out minions 5 turns in a row and never be able to attack because of either removal or freeze into giant removal. Um, yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
just it's rare to get a constructed level package that works in the arena. And that's what Shaman got with this set. Like a lot of the other ones in Arena, you'll get like small bits and pieces of a constructed package that you could kind of put together, or it'll be like Rogue, and it'll just be like, nope, this is too complicated. We can't do anything. But or the just I don't even know what the constructed package is, right? Like for like Paladin, and you're just or like for Druid, where you're just like, I guess there's stuff. Arena like stuff. We'll have big stuff, right? But this one's actually like a cool package that's working together. All right. Well, that's it for Shaman. We are going to close out with Warlock and Warrior. We've been at this since 3 o'clock. It is now 9 o'clock. We are over 6 hours in, but we should finish before 8 o'clock. We'll finish actually like the timing is gonna work out exactly as I predicted, despite Merp's best intentions to actually make this fast.
It's gonna be fast.
Okay. Shoutouts?
Shout out to all of you guys watching, whether on Twitch or on YouTube.
Or
I would say
listening
we
as a
wouldn't do it without you
podcast.
guys, but I don't know. We'd probably do it like in a crazy fashion. But we do like people watching, and we do like that people like this kind of stuff. I understand that people sometimes like only watch this. You guys are ridiculous, but we love you for it. So thank you. And make sure you stick around because we're going into the home stretch. Okay.
See you guys.
Bye.